Breaking news! Changes are happening on the team, and we have to keep an eye on what's going on around here, and I'll tell you all about it in detail. But before we jump into today's breaking news, be sure to hit that like button to stay up to date on all things Falcons. You don't want to miss a thing, especially with how things are heating up this preseason. Okay, let's get started. Our Falcons have been busy, and I'm talking about some serious changes in the secondary. Just when we thought things were calming down, the injury bug hit us again. Harrison Hand, a veteran trying to secure his spot on the roster, suffered a season-ending knee injury in the preseason opener against the Miami Dolphins. And if that wasn't enough, DeMarco Hellams, who was really starting to show promise as our number 3 safety, is now out with a significant ankle injury. Those are some big blows, no doubt. But here's where it gets interesting. Our front office wasted no time in addressing these shortcomings. General Manager Terry Fontenot is on a mission, and the latest news is that the Falcons have signed free agent Josh Thompson. For those who may not be familiar, Thompson is a guy who has been on a roll since he was drafted out of the University of Texas in 2022. He's had quite the journey, from signing with the Jacksonville Jaguars to being signed by the Tennessee Titans, where he played in 6 games. What's notable about Thompson is that all of his 83 snaps have been on special teams, where he's made 4 tackles despite dealing with a knee injury. This guy has grit, and that's exactly what we need right now. And that's not all. Fontenot also brought in cornerback William Hooper, who was previously with the New England Patriots. Hooper didn't see any action last season, so he's hungry to prove himself, and we all know hunger can be a game changer, especially when you're fighting for a spot on that final 53-man roster. To make room for these new additions, the Falcons had to make some tough decisions. Running back Robert Burns and wide receiver Austin Mack were released. It's always tough to see guys go, but in this league, it's all about making the best roster possible, especially as we approach the August 27th deadline. Now, Falcons fans, what do you think of these moves? Do you think Thompson and Hooper have what it takes to step up and fill the void left by Hand and Hellams? And how do you feel about the cuts? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I look forward to hearing what you all have to say. All right, let's get into it. Word just dropped that the Falcons are bringing in veteran safety Justin Simmons for a visit, and this could be a game changer. Now, if you've been keeping up, you know that we've been hit with some tough news lately. DeMarco Hellams is going to be out for a while with an ankle injury. That's a big blow to our depth in the secondary, especially since Hellams is our backup to Richie Grant on the depth chart. With him sidelined, it's no surprise that the front office is looking outside to fill that gap, and who better to consider than a 2-time Pro Bowler like Simmons? Simmons has been a force in the NFL, particularly with the Denver Broncos. Just last season, he racked up 70 tackles, snagged 3 interceptions, and had 8 pass breakups in 15 games. Not too shabby, right? But here's the thing, Denver decided to cut him back in March. Now, don't get it twisted, this move was more about the Broncos tightening their budget and less about Simmons' ability to perform. In fact, he's still highly respected around the league, even making it onto the NFL Network's top 100 list, landing at number 57. That says a lot about his reputation and what he can still bring to the table. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, why are we considering a 30-year-old safety? But let's not forget, experience can be invaluable, especially in a position as critical as safety. Sure, we've seen other veterans struggle in new environments. Dalvin Cook's rough season with the Jets comes to mind, but every situation is different. If Simmons still has some gas left in the tank, pairing him with Jesse Bates III could give us one of the most formidable safety tandems in the league. Just imagine that for a second, a secondary with Simmons and Bates locking it down. That's the kind of move that signals we're serious about taking that next step this season. Coach Raheem Morris seems to be all in on pushing this team forward after 3 straight 7-10 seasons. Bringing in a guy like Simmons could be the difference maker we need to finally break through and make some noise in the playoffs. But of course, this visit is just the first step. We'll have to see if the front office decides to pull the trigger and sign him, but the fact that he's coming in for a visit shows that they're not messing around. So, Falcons fans, what do you think? Is Justin Simmons the right move for us? Do you believe he can still deliver at a high level, or should we be looking at other options? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. This is your team too, and I want to hear what you have to say. Now, let's rewind a bit to what happened in the last update. Head coach Raheem Morris confirmed in his press conference that DeMarco Hellams will miss significant time due to an ankle injury. This news is a huge blow to our defense, especially when you consider just how well Hellams has been performing throughout camp. His absence is not just a loss of a player, but a disruption to the chemistry and momentum our defense was building as we head toward the regular season. Hellams was injured on the second defensive play of our preseason opener against the Miami Dolphins last Friday night. He was chasing a quick screen pass to Dolphins receiver River Crocraft when he went down, and it was immediately clear that something was wrong. You could see the pain on his face, and the trainers had to rush onto the field to assist him. After spending several minutes on the ground, they managed to get him up, but he was unable to put any weight on his left leg. The sight of Hellams being carried off the field, with his lower leg in a cast, was tough to watch. It wasn't just the injury itself that was disheartening, but the emotional toll it took on his teammates, who immediately gathered around him to offer their support. The camaraderie among the players was evident, and it was clear that Hellams is a well-respected and liked figure within the locker room. If you recall, Hellams was one of our 7th-round picks out of Alabama in 2023, and he quickly made a name for himself during his rookie season. With 40 tackles and 1 tackle for loss across 15 games, including 1 start, Hellams showed that he has the skills and determination to succeed at this level. This summer, he continued to impress, catching the eye of the new defensive staff with his work ethic and mental growth. He had solidified his spot as our number 3 safety behind Jesse Bates III and was expected to play a key role in our secondary rotation. But now, with Hellams out, the door is open for someone else to step up and seize the opportunity. Micah Abernathy appears to be the frontrunner to take over as the 3rd safety. He's got solid experience under his belt, and when Hellams went down during the Dolphins game, it was Lucas Dennis who stepped in to replace him. But the competition doesn't end there. Veteran Dane Cruikshank and second-year player Trey Tarpley III are also in the running for that spot. Each of these players brings something different to the table, and it will be interesting to see who steps up during these crucial weeks leading up to the regular season, especially with roster cuts looming just around the corner. Unfortunately, Hellams wasn't the only injury we had to deal with in Miami. Earlier in the week, wide receiver Rondale Moore suffered a season-ending knee injury during Wednesday's joint practice with the Dolphins. Moore was expected to be a key contributor to our receiving core, and his absence will certainly be felt. Then, during the game, both 3rd-round rookie outside linebacker Bralin Trice and veteran defensive back Harrison Hand suffered season-ending leg injuries. It's been a rough stretch for us, and these injuries are going to test our depth and resilience as we move forward. The coaching staff and front office will undoubtedly be evaluating our options as we look to fill these gaps, whether that means giving more opportunities to the younger players on the roster or perhaps even bringing in some new faces to bolster our ranks. So, Falcons fans, what do you think? How are you feeling about Hellams being out for a while, and who do you think should step up in his place? And with all these injuries, do you think we need to consider making some moves to bring in new talent? Your opinion matters, so be sure to drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. We've got a lot more Falcons news coming your way, so stay tuned. Go Falcons!